Hello everybody and welcome to this week's video briefing. The subject today is the political crisis in Greece. The crisis has of course emerged since the election on Sunday, when the voters declined to give maximum support to the main parties and brought into Parliament a number of extreme parties, both left and right, whose raison d'etre was to oppose the terms of the bailout and the austerity package that is part of that. I'm going to explore some of these issues with my colleague Mike Taylor, Senior Europe Analyst, and I think we should start, Mike, with where we are in the government formation process, because it hasn't been possible yet to get anywhere in terms of creating an administration following the Sunday vote.
Yes, Parliament hasn't convened yet. It convenes on May the 17th. And it may well be that it will convene and simply vote to dissolve itself, because in the meantime the parties have been unable to agree with each other on forming a government.
Firstly, New Democracy had a go, then Syriza, the left-wing party. The baton is currently with the PASOK leader.
Yes, and it's hard to see what... This is laid down in the Constitution. The rules are that the three leading parties get the three goes to try and form a coalition. So they're going through the constitutional procedure. But I don't really see that the cards will be reshuffled, and I don't see that it's going to come up with a new government we pulled out of the hat by Venizelos. I don't really understand that happening, because we are looking at diametrically opposed views.
Yeah.
PASOK and New Democracy were the outgoing government, and they negotiated the bailout, and they are stuck with it really. They seem to be saying that perhaps they could change some of the details, but essentially they're stuck with
the renegotiation ploy, which they'd need to put forward to stand a remote chance of getting support with the other parties, let alone, I suppose, the people if there was another vote.
There was one left party that seemed to be amenable to joining PASOK and New Democracy, but Samaras, the New Democracy leader, didn't get them on board at the first attempt. So maybe this time around Venizelos will somehow persuade this third party to join them. I think Samaras, part of the problem is Samaras doesn't really want to be in a government with Venizelos as Prime Minister. There's a lot of personal ambition going on here. Samaras would like to have new elections. I see a lot of this posturing that the parties are looking to holding new elections, hoping that the second time round, the second throw of the dice, they'll get in with more seats.
Before we come to that second election, let's just talk a little bit about the way in which the politics intersects with the disbursement of the bailout money, because we had the disbursement today, but some of it was held back.
Yes, I think that was a shot across the bows. They were meant to get about 5 billion euros. They got about 4 billion euros, which is just about as much as they actually need. It was the ESF, the bailouts mechanism, that was taking that decision. They pushed it forward to a meeting of the Eurogroup of finance ministers on Monday. I don't think they need a lot of money in the immediate future. Various officials have been quoted as saying that they got enough money to last until the end of June, or otherwise, as I say, the end of July. In June, however, there is a rather hard-led deadline coming up, in the sense that the EU and IMF and ECB Troika that negotiated the bailout deals with them, gave them fair warning that they expected a government to be in place that would come up with its side of the deal, i.e. the cuts that would have to be put in order to meet the terms of the second bailout. And if they don't have a government in place, or a government is in place that doesn't want to do this, then we have a clash between Greece and the EU.
So we think it's fairly improbable that a rabbit can be pulled out of the hat in terms of government formation before another election. What do we think about the likely attitude of the Greek voters when they are asked again, within a small space frame of time, to vote?
This is the big question. Ordinarily, one would assume that elections held so close together would not produce a very different result. However, I think certainly I think one can see some of the politicians really are hoping that they are going to turn the thing around. I think Tsipras, the head of Syriza, the second largest party that had a go at forming the coalition this week, his party support has risen, according to unofficial polls, to 25% from about 17%, I think it was, at the vote on May the 6th.
He's after this magic 50 seats,
yes,
isn't he?
Because that's the joker in this game that they're playing, that they've got this what's called reinforced proportional representation. The leading party gets a bonus of 50 seats. And that's what's happened. I mean, if you look at New Democracy being the first party in Parliament, Syriza being the second, there were only about 1 or 2 percentage points difference in terms of the popular vote, but New Democracy has twice as many seats in Parliament. Now, if you turn that around and Syriza became the top party, then Syriza would be the one sitting in Parliament with 100 or 100 plus seats. And then it would start talking to the other left-wing parties, and maybe they would then have a left-wing government, which could be a rejectionist government that would go back to the EU and say, we don't want anything to do with this bailout. Is
there any difference between rejecting the terms of the bailout and rejecting euro area membership?
That's the great inconsistency. I mean, people are people. I mean, the Greeks really, really don't like what they had to go through, but they also don't want to be chucked out of the euro or out of the EU, which may come to the same thing, I don't know.
But having one's cake and eating it is the expression that comes to mind here.
It's very human, I think.
Indeed. Mike, thanks very much. And thank you for watching. We'll be discussing implications of the Greek crisis and its wider impact on the euro area in a special conference call next Tuesday, starting at 4 p.m. UK time. If you'd like to participate in that call, please do let us know via our website. In the meantime, that's it for today.